Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Parks and Rec Commission. I will call this meeting to order at 5 o'clock. First item is calling to order Chairman Kessel. I am present. Co-Commissioner Kramer.
Present.
Commissioner Keck.
Present.
Commissioner Jones.
Present.
Commissioner Osmondstad.
Present.
And Youth Advisor Viejas. Am I saying that right? Viejas. Thank you. Okay, the next item is public comment. The Parks and Rec Commission invites the public to provide comments at this time. Anybody interested? Okay. Okay. But you didn't want a public comment. Okay. Okay, next item is reports, and no reports were submitted. So we'll move on to updates, and Director Westcott will give us an update on the Copper Penny Park pickleball.
I want to take this opportunity to thank Commissioner Vice Chair, actually, Kramer, for his time on the Parks and Rec Commission. He is not pursuing another term, which we're sad about, but
Thank you.
You will be missed. We worked a long time together and we appreciate you a lot. And especially through the fun times of libraries and all kinds of ice cream socials and those kind of things.
Right.
I just want to tell you sincerely, thank you for your service to the Parks and Rec Commission.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. Okay, now we have pickleball. This is a very brief update to let you know that we have been made aware of some concerns about pickleball, the pickleball court at the Copper Penny Park, and we are going to be following up on that. So I just wanted to let you know that we know that there's been some conversation, and we'll follow up with the neighbors and look at that court more closely and talk to the community, that particular neighborhood, and see what kind of solutions we might come up with. Okay.
That it on that? Okay, next item is the minutes, and we'll discuss, consider, and act upon the draft minutes from our special meeting held on July 23rd, 2025. Does anyone have any discussion about that? Okay, I will entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the special meeting held on July 23rd, 2025 as written.
I second.
It's been moved by Co-Chairman Kramer and seconded by Commissioner Keck to accept the minutes from our special meeting held on July 23rd, 2025. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes unanimously. Next are our discussion items. No action will be taken, and Director Westcott will give us discuss Selma Mangini Steam Park status.
There's a lot. We have a lot. Thank you. I just want to mention, I kind of want to highlight this because I think it's important for us to recognize the fact that this particular agenda item supports our strategic goal, specific areas in our strategic goals. And I think it's important that we recognize that this particular agenda item is for goal area 1, enhances the quality of life for residents, businesses, and visitors to Clarkdale. And goal area 2, it enhances the quality and availability of parks, recreation, and cultural opportunities in our neighborhood. Just wanted to recognize that. Okay, and it's a rather long PowerPoint, but the subject will be short, I hope. We'll try. We'll do our best. Hey, this is a big deal. Our Selma Mangini Park. I wanted to talk to you about the status of the park. And we're just going to jump right into the fun that we recently had with the grand opening on April 30th. We celebrated the park opening. We celebrated with our partners. Barnabas Keene is our landscape architect that we've worked with for over 5 years. And our friend Felicia Coates, who was instrumental in helping us get the project going. All of our donors, our fabulous donor board that recognized everyone there. And then, of course, we did it verbally. We're sorry it was long, but it was important to us. And so, yeah, and then seeing all the families use the park, and it is quite well used. There are a lot of people in the park pretty much all the time. Okay, so let's talk about our journey, where we started. You all will have been a part of this. So we started with our landscape architect with the design. In November, we Freeport worked with Freeport to start the grading on the project as part of their donation to their in-kind contribution to the grant. In December, the grading was complete. In January of 2025, we had our groundbreaking, which was quite extraordinary. We had so many people there, like 70 or 80 people came out for that. It was fabulous. Including our Trails Grant manager, Mickey Rogers, came up from Phoenix. And that was the last time that we got to see him where this project was involved. So since he retired, so that is a memorable thing. Van contracting in January began putting up the fence and some other grading. In February, the sitting wall was constructed by Manzanita. Bees Contracting did the bathrooms. The sport court began their preparations for the basketball court. I just think it's so cool to see where we have been or what it looked like when we started. In March, the playground equipment arrived, and Jayco completed the basketball court concrete pour. In April, the toddler playground was installed, our first in Clarkdale. In May, the sidewalk was installed and the gray water demonstration equipment was installed as part of our STEAM elements. June, JP Playgrounds put the Big Kids Playground in. APS came and did that hard dig for us with their giant equipment in order to be able to install the huge shade structure that we have over the zip line. So they were great partners in that. This is just an aerial photo while the construction was going on, courtesy of Doug Von Gossig, who did a lot of our aerial shots. In July and August, Freeport came back in, completed the landscape work, and the town public works team completed that. And then we also installed the rain tank during that time. Then we have Vincent Hood as our resident artist, if you so want to call it, who did the painting of our bike rack that was fabricated by Hot as Hell Welding. And then, of course, we had our community art wall was installed thanks to BJ from Barnworks. August, the basketball court got painted and the backboards went up. The lights came on, and that was pretty fantastic for us. Salt River Material donated the rocks, the big geological specimens we have as part of the STEAM elements. And then these are just some random photos of the groundwork that was being done. Salt River Material coming and bringing the rock, those giant rocks. They had to bring one at a time on a loader from the cement plant. And then, of course, we installed, lastly, that was the last thing to go in, the first in Arizona solar charging station from Interfusion. And the public seems to really be enjoying that piece. We see a lot of people sitting there. And then, of course, our final product in the end So where we're at now, today, our contractor punch list. So we've completed our preliminary contract with fan contracting. These are the things that still need to be completed before we finalize the contract. AZ Rec has to remove and replace the Ramada, both the square and the octagonal pavilion. There are some issues with that with color. They weren't really installed correctly. We didn't make a big deal about that. We just wanted them to wait till after the grand opening, and they'll be back to fix that. They will be delivering the park signage, the big round steam signs that we mocked up. They're currently holding up pretty well in the park. Those will not be delivered until October. We have a crack in the zipline curb that they'll be taking care of. We had right after we opened, like the day after the track, the zip line that has the bucket on it, the ADA zip line piece got jammed somehow, and we don't know how, but we had to remove it, and we're waiting for parts to come, and AZ Rec it's all under our warranty, so they'll take care of that for us. And then our welcome sign replacement. So we haven't really been happy with the way that that was laid out. So they're going to get a new one for us. And then Manzanita Landscaping is doing some paver touch up and bringing a vent for the drainage wall or a drainage vent for the wall, sport court. We have some questions for them. The posts need to be squared up. They're not quite square. And we found a few pinholes in the court acrylic, and we want them to address that. And then the dog fountain repair. Dog fountain is already broken. It actually works, but the knob broke, and the bathroom sink broke over the weekend. And so we had to shut that down. So we're waiting on parts for that. So our upcoming STEAM items, we actually did get the cornhole bag storage container in today. You can see that little tiny yellow cabinet at the back of the cornhole area now has cornhole bags for the community to use. And then we still need to install the scoreboards. Our anatomy and physiology fitness zone will be installed probably November, as late as November. We have our hands-on magnet activity that's ready to go in. We just have to get it in the ground. The lending library cabinet and the game loaner storage cabinet, both will look just like the yellow one that you can see that we have the cornhole bags in, and or be decorated in some way at some point. But those should arrive today or tomorrow, and we'll get those in place because we want, I mean, our whole concept of having STEAM books and STEAM games that kids can just take out of the cabinet and play at the game tables and such was really important to our STEAM components. So our kids only zone development, that will come with also on the list, no, it's not on that list. I don't know why. Never mind. It's on another list. So yes, the kids zone will be developed. That for a reminder is an area that we're talking about having hands-on science materials for kids to come in and interact in different ways, and that will be interchangeable. So we can bring new ideas every few months, or depending on how kids are using it and liking it, we can kind of gauge that and see how we want to change that up. We have a lot of cool ideas on what that can look like. Our pollinator gardens need to go in. Our art sculptures and the pollinator gardens will go in October. Is when the folks that are going to be in charge of putting that in for us will be back and be doing that work. The art sculptures are still in progress, and the ball field dedication plaque should be arriving fairly soon, and we'll get that installed. Then also our park signage, we're still working on the lollipop signs, the educational signs that we were talking about, or will be here in October. We're looking at our park rules and hours, and that's some things that we'll be communicating or having conversations with you all about. But we need to get our park rules up as soon as possible, and no smoking signage. So we have one sign that was just one we had in the cupboard. We have the park rules sign up. And then we purchased 2 no smoking signs to go up so that people are aware. And then we've been having conversations about, developing that signage and what it's going to look like for all of our parks going forward. And then we've also, when you build a park and people start using it, you start realizing little things that oh gosh, it would be really nice for us to have a lost and found cabinet at the park that people can put things that they lose in the cabinet, and people can come back and find it or not. It's hard to manage. We collect a lot of things like at concerts and from parks, and they all end up in the police department lost and found, which is the only lost and found that the town has. And they're, they have multiple pair of reading glasses and all kinds of other fun stuff that they collect. So we just thought it would be kind of really cool to have something that right there on site that people could put things that they find. I picked up 6 pair of socks this morning off of the playground, which was pretty. They're all full of wood chips. But they were full pairs. So I saved them all and I put them on a bench in case the moms come back. They won't. They had holes and yeah. Anyway, so Shell and I were talking today about having a little bucket, right, kind of down at the playground that people could just drop the socks into when they find them. And then if somebody comes back to find them, great. I think Public Works has been doing something else with them, the ones that they're finding, but okay, so other items that we have identified that we still need to put in place. One of them is a storage locker for volunteer tools. As I'll be mentioning later about volunteers helping us, we didn't want them to have to be getting into our control room where all of the water turn off valves and that kind of thing are. So we're installing a cabinet on the outside of the bathroom that will have a key for their access to help with sweeping and etc. The dugouts, there's the dugouts. The dugouts will be refaced and painted by Diamond Ridge. We contracted with a company that will actually do that work for us and give them a durable metal roof and metal fascia and new benches, new paint, and really spruce them up. One of those is what's designated for the kids zone. So it'll be great to have that done, and then we can move forward. The barrier boulders from SRMG, we still need to get. They had offered to donate boulders that would go kind of around the perimeter of the park so that somebody can't just drive into the park, kind of giving us a little protection there since we don't have a fence. The on-site lost and found, we talked about additional trash receptacles near picnic areas when you're standing on site and trying to figure out the best placement. And then when you see people, how it's being used, it's another one of those things. We need a few more. And then an additional bike rack would be an addition for the north side of the park to cover. So let's talk about how we're going to take care of the park. We currently, Public Works staff has added the park to their daily routine. So that wasn't on their radar before. They're having to take care of that now. including the trash removal and bathroom cleaning is needed. And they also will be adding a 20-hour-a-week position that will be specific to parks maintenance. And that's really huge for them. They've tried to do that before, and that person always gets pulled into other things. So this is a designated park maintenance person that will help with the cleaning and for all of our parks. And that's really going to be helpful to them. And then, of course, we have our volunteers, our park stewards. We have several people who've said, you know, we want to help keep the park clean. And so hence the cabinet with the tools for them to help us do that. The wood chips are quite a problem out on the sidewalk. And so, and what we love seeing and hearing is the neighborhood saying, we want to take care of our park. And so that's important to them and important to us as well. So, and then we also have weed volunteers that will be led by Marcia Fouts. And she's very, has a very sophisticated system of sections that each of the volunteers will maintain the weeds in their section. They're responsible for one small section. And this is on the hill with all the wildflowers there's going to be weeds for a couple years until the flowers can grow big enough and take over. And so they're going to be helping with that. And then, well, there was one thing. Oh, and then we have the landscape company that's coming in for 90 days to take care of the landscape and the plants. And if anything dies, they take care of it. And so helping us get everything off of the ground. And that's it. Thank you, Parks and Rec Commission. You guys get a big hand from us for doing such a great job and helping us get through this project. I know it wasn't easy for you either.
I just want to say it feels like a dream that it's actually open after so many years of talking about it. And you guys did a great job. And the opening event was wonderful, in my opinion. I'm glad you guys were all able to attend. And I think Commissioner Osmondstad did a stellar job keeping those wood chips off the sidewalk. Thank you.
Well, you all were instrumental in getting that. You know, we at the end, we thought we were a little crazy. We felt a little crazy because here we're at the end of a project and have so many things to finalize before we actually open it up to the public. And then we planned a giant event around it. But that was our thought from the beginning, and we wanted to carry it through. And we're really glad we did. We continue to get amazing comments from the public on how they love the park. This morning at 7:30 was the first time that I've been to the park since it opened that there was nobody in the park, and somebody came before I left. But that was unusual. I mean, there's people there from the time it opens until it closes. So it's something for all of us to be very proud of.
Do any of you have any comments?
I mean, I'll just echo a big congratulations to the staff and to please extend this to the other town staff members because I mean, it's huge. And we're seeing that in the community just being reflected back. And I hope that you're very proud of yourselves. I'm just going to tell a small story because I keep forgetting to tell you. My friend attended with her 8-year-old son, and he had been building a Lego park because they had been talking about it. And after that opening, he went home and he finished it and he added a few things. And then he did a ribbon cutting with his Legos. So congratulations. It's working.
Good modeling on our part. Right? You build it, celebrate it. Yeah.
Oh, I did want to comment. Maybe, you know how they have those cute little shoe cubbies at the McDonald's Playland? I wonder if that would be helpful. Something, little structure, and people can then come back and get them. Anyway, anybody else? Okay, we will move on to our next discussion item. At Thelma Mangina Steam Park Security, and Director Westcott will again present.
Okay, well, now we built it and invested in it and we want to protect it. So we've been having conversations about the security at the park to, just as not that we've had any problems, just kind of looking into preventative measures that could potentially help. Because of where the park is located, the neighbors being right there is probably our best resource. So what we did was we met with Police Chief Taylor and had some just general discussions about lighting, about cameras, and then the community engagement. And so, I mean, there's lots of options. Cameras being one of the most expensive to actually do. And not only are they expensive, but they're labor intensive. They can be, because when you have the video, you have to maintain that video somehow. And yeah, we got a good lesson from the police department on that. Of course, they do it all the time, so it didn't feel cumbersome to them, but we were thinking, yeah, that's a lot for our department to take on, and especially when we don't have a problem that we know of. So we, throughout that conversation, we talked about how they actually did, the police department did a risk evaluation or assessment for the school, for the Clarkdale Jerome School. And when, and it's quite an intensive thing. They go through and they look at all kinds of things, your terrain, your location, your entrances, exits, a number of things. And then they create a plan, a security plan, or a recommendation from that. So they've offered to do that for us. They already have assigned that to an officer to begin that process and just looking at the park as a whole. And but really our conversation came around to, after the cameras and the evaluation, was the community and the neighborhood watch. And what the consensus was, or the recommendation from them was, to begin with, was to have a meeting, a neighborhood meeting in the park with the neighbors who are directly around the park or in that neighborhood that have interest. And then just have a communication on what any concerns they might have. It's a good opportunity for us to kind of pull them and the challenges that they're having. I will tell you, we've heard from all but one person on the north side of the park, and they've actually seeked us out to tell us how much they appreciate it, and no complaints. So that was really nice. So this neighborhood meeting would be a chance to communicate with the residents and find out how it's going for them, and give them some information on what, if they see something, what they do about it, and what qualifies as something that you should call 911 for, or that you could call police dispatch and say, hey, there's, it's after dark and I see some people walking around. Can you come check it out? And they will. So they've increased their drive arounds that the police department has in that area. But I personally thought this was a great idea to involve the community and give them the resources to help us, keep the park in the condition that it is now that it's finished, and to keep kids and people safe throughout the park. So that's basically, after a long conversation, we are, and this is just a discussion item, so there's nothing to give us, nothing to take action on, but I wanted us to be able to have a conversation about their recommendations and the neighborhood watch and volunteers, and having that meeting. And then, sorry. They will also do their assessment. And then there was a conversation about, once we've had that conversation, should we install this park is under surveillance because the neighbors are helping look after the park, and having some signage throughout the park to let people know that people are, you're being watched, and without, like we could put up fake cameras or something. We don't want to do that. We just want to make it very clear that no nonsense is going to be tolerated in this park. So that's where we're at. We're open to ideas, comments.
Anybody have any comments?
Would the neighbors have a checklist of things that they should be on the lookout for?
I think that could be developed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do think having a meeting with the immediate neighbors is really the best idea and option to start with. And then once they sort of have a plan, if they're starting to see issues, then maybe going forward, it would be an idea about cameras and things like that. But nothing better than people that live right there
Yeah.
to keep an eye out and just kind of, watch what's going on. I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah. Thank you. Jalexa, do you have anything to add?
No, I think that's actually a really good idea with the neighbors. And I think, when he said that if like there starts becoming issues, then maybe cameras would be a good idea. But for now, I think the neighbors would do pretty good.
Great. Thank you. There also, I forgot to mention, there was a conversation about even before cameras potentially is lighting. And so we talked a little bit about, like when the park goes dark at 9 o'clock, when the lights go out, having a few lights that would just stay on in the middle of the park, just to still show that, that we're watching. And, but also there are motion lights that we could put on poles and buildings, that if there is anything going on, that it would bring a light on. They even have some so sophisticated that we can't afford, but so sophisticated that, set off an alarm or scream or say, get out of here or whatever. And we don't want to scare our neighbors. So I don't think that's a good idea. But that is the challenge with cameras, is they're motion censored typically. And, if it's getting a signal sent to an on-duty police officer every time a javelina, a rabbit, a dog, whatever comes through there, I mean, that could get a little tiring as well. So I like the idea, if you guys like the idea of starting slow, start with the neighborhood, go ahead and let the police department give us an evaluation on what they think might be our biggest concerns, areas of concern. And then the surveillance signs we can also do And then go from there. After we talk to the neighbors and give them some tools to know what to do.
I think that sounds like a great plan. I was also going to mention, I think we might be talking about it later too, about the park lights, having some additional lighting, or whether it's motion detected or just on. I noticed on Saturday after the concert, as I was walking home, I could see people up on the playground with phone lights. And I
Oh.
didn't know if they had been caught up there off guard. They had been playing and then they had to go rescue their kids, or if they were doing that intentionally. But the park was dark.
Yeah.
It was very dark.
It's
that time.
very dark
Yeah.
when they go out.
Yeah.
It's-
So I think lighting is a good option.
There was also a discussion about potentially adding more street lights around the perimeter that could help kind of illuminate down into the park. And not, I mean, it's well lit, if you've been down there at night, it's well lit. And so it's a lot to have it go from that light to absolutely nothing.
That might be a good thing to bring up at the neighborhood meeting. Because I know the flip side is the neighbors don't really want lights on all night. So having their input on that and the type of lights and what that might be would be really good, because there would be a possibility after the fact of having some now not so happy neighbors
Right.
with light shining in every time,
Right.
so.
Yeah. No, we definitely don't want to make anybody upset. Anything else? That's all I had.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to action items. And the first one is 2025 Santa Comes to Clarkdale, and Manager Smart will present.
Thank you, Chairperson Kessel. I first want to thank everybody for how wonderful you guys always are reviewing the packet ahead of time. So I'm going to move through these items pretty quickly. If you have any questions, please stop me, okay? But today I want to talk about our upcoming Santa Comes to Clarkdale event. It's in December, but we've been trying to bring it to you guys a little earlier so that we can get your feedback and make any changes with plenty of time to do that. And today I'm really asking you two things. One is, where do we think we should host it this year? And the second is, what changes would you like to see from last year to this year? Okay. So just briefly, last year we hosted the event here. Years prior, we hosted it at Town Park, and even earlier than that was back here at the clubhouse. So this event includes our photos with Santa, cookies and cocoa. We write letters to Santa. We have a craft station, inline games and activities that have been expanded. And over the last couple of years, we've gotten a lot of good feedback from you guys, and we've tried to implement it as much as we can. And so the proposed event plan is, as we understood, really last year's, with a location to be determined. So we typically have this event each year, the first Saturday in December from noon to 2. And then we host it inside the men's lounge or town park. And this year we did list the steam park as a potential option, but I want to talk about each of these three locations really briefly. The men's lounge, as we all saw last year, it's a little tight. And we also have a long line that needs to come around the back of the building. We have a few challenges with how Santa gets in and out of the building without people seeing him. But the wonderful thing about this building is the weather, it's not weather dependent. So even if we have a rainstorm, we can still do something. And that's why traditionally this space is our backup, if nothing else, right? So that would still be the case. And then Town Park is nice if we have great weather, because we have more space for kids to be able to run and play after they have, experience our event that we set up. And it just gives us a little more elbow room. But if we have weather, it becomes problematic, even if it's just windy. And then the steam park, we have enough space there and we have wonderful playgrounds, but the parking is the concern. And since we have 300 people who will likely be served during this event, it'll be tight on parking again, like it was for the grand opening. And that neighborhood isn't used to having a lot of community events down there, and we really don't want to wear out our welcome in Lower Clarkdale. So I included it on the list, but I would just give those cautionary remarks. All right, so do we want to have a quick discussion, maybe just on location, and see what you guys feel about that?
I would love to have it downtown, but would we always have this as a backup?
Yes. And by downtown, do you mean Town Park?
Town Park. sorry.
Okay, thank you.
I do like having it at Town Park also. I wasn't able to be here last year and I heard it went well. I know logistically it's a bigger pain for you guys to get all the things to Town Park, but, and then the weather, but I do enjoy having it at Town Park. I like it's easier for the kids and I like how the fire truck, I don't know, does the fire truck bring him here?
Yes, he did, but the entry for Santa is just much smoother at Town Park.
Right.
Because we have to have the families line up over here and Santa's showing up at the front. And then when he's leaving, we kind of have to sneak him without anybody seeing him. So it was a little more challenging. When we do it at Town Park, when he leaves, he just kind of walks himself to the fire department and hitches a ride to the North Pole. So it's a little easier. Okay. Jalexa, do you have any thoughts as far as location goes?
I also think the town park is actually a really good idea because I know that the new park would also kind of be a good idea, but like you said, the parking, and we really don't want to make those neighbors angry. And yeah, the town park is just a great place to have it. There's a lot more room, and when the kids are done, they can just go and play.
Okay, thank you. All right, so Town Park, unless I hear anything else, okay. All right, guys, thank you. All right, so then the next element of the event is the photos being taken with the attendee's own camera or phone. We can take a picture of them with our phone and email it to them if they didn't bring a phone, but we have very rarely had that request. And inline games and activities as part of the event have worked out really well. The kids love that. It's definitely streamlined the waiting process, made that a lot of fun. So thank you, Commissioner Osmondstad, for that idea, and Commissioner Kramer. So then we're going to play our holiday music like we do each year. Children are going to visit with Santa, but rather than sitting down on his lap, more often they'd be standing near him, around him. Crafts have been very popular, so we would like to expand that a little bit larger. And last year we did try to do that, but this year I think we'll have more space to do that. And letters to Santa were a big hit. We'll have more templates this year. And Santa again will be asked to stay until 2:30. And we always advertise that closing time as 2, so that we've got a little window there. And then other considerations that were brought up as ideas were maybe like an ugly sweater or best holiday like outfit kind of contest. All right, so with all of these ideas in mind, are there any suggestions that you guys have that you'd like to maybe talk about, think about for this year to change anything?
What happened to the sleigh?
So
Sponsored by the train, the sleigh was sponsoring. The train was sponsoring a train for Santa?
yes, so they had talked about that. We've gone back and forth with them a couple of times. So I'm not sure if they are still able to sponsor that.
Okay.
It has been quite a while since that discussion was started, but we can ask them again. The amount that they originally had talked about sponsoring it for was about $1,500. When we went looking, we had some challenges actually finding something that's really secure for that amount and making sure that adults and children can sit in it. What we had previously, we could definitely afford again, but we were looking for something that was a little more substantial. So that's a great reminder, and we can check in with them again. They do have some new staff there, but it is the same owners. So
I think we still have Mrs. Claus in the basement.
we do have some of the decorations still there. Okay. All right, so any other changes or thoughts? Okay, so we're feeling pretty, oh, go ahead. Yes.
Can I just ask, Santa's not on the gazebo, isn't it on the ground in front of the steps? Or did I?
So yes, so we have done it both ways. Having him down in front of the gazebo is nice because people who have accessibility challenges, it simplifies that, and it also just speeds up the process to move through the line, which has been our biggest challenge, is getting every kid up to Santa photo taken. So we would likely have it down on the concrete again this year and just decorate up in the gazebo, make it nice. Yeah, and I think we may have started that idea because the gazebo is going to be under construction, but it still ended up working better for us. Yeah. Okay. All right. So then I am recommending that you all approve the 2025 Sienna Comes to Clarkdale event plan, including your recommendations from tonight regarding the location being at Town Park and the activities proposed in the plan.
Okay, would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the 2025 Santa Comes to Clarkdale event plan with the recommendations included.
I second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Kramer and seconded by Commissioner Jones to accept the 2025 Santa Comes to Clarkdale event with the recommended changes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. We will move on to Town of Clarkdale Park Hours Community Survey Proposal. And again, Manager Smart will present that.
All right, thank you. Yes, okay, so we have been thinking about our use at our parks and wanting to make sure that our hours make sense for the communities that the parks serve. And so today I am asking you to think about how we can best design and send out a survey to the public regarding park hours so that we can really get as much input as possible from the community. And I wanted to give you a little bit of background information because this is really the first time we're talking about park hours with our group. And I think we're going to continue this discussion for a while. So wanted to give you a little bit of background information and just kick off that conversation. And then we'll talk about the survey. So when we audited our park hours, what we saw is that there's not a whole lot of consistency. I think over time, there's been a patchwork of approaches to the times that our parks close. So Town Park is open 7 a.m. to 9. Saldamonjini Steam Park is open 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Centerville is open 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. with the restrooms closing earlier than that. Copper Penny Park is open 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Skyline Park, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. River Parks, day use only, okay? And since we're seeing more use at these parks, we really want to be mindful about it. I also want to say that we are not receiving complaints about use of these parks. We're not receiving any complaints except one person who tried to use a park early in the day before 7 a.m. and they were asked to please come back at 7 a.m. So that's kind of the context of the very few and far between complaints that we are receiving. But looking at best practices for parks, we see that it's very common to have daylight only hours in parks, which kind of changes obviously with the seasons, then be earlier in the winter time. And that would be in a park without adequate lighting. And then extended evening use of up to 9 or 10 p.m. for parks that do have that artificial lighting that is at an appropriate level for that park. And our lighting that we are always aiming for, and Saldamonjini reflects that, is dark sky compliant lighting. So even when it's on in the evening time, they should still have the beautiful view of the night sky. Seasonal and program-based flexibility for events was something that came up. So whatever policy we end up designing, we hope that will include a provision that allows us to have seasonal and program-based items happening maybe at different times in the park with appropriate lighting. And then we'll want to note no overnight use, no camping or occupation in case unless the camping is like a program that we host. And then ongoing evaluation is always what National Recreation and Parks Association recommends. So we get the data, we reflect on it, and every year we're just open to needs changing, data changing, and just maintaining a current approach to what is needed for the community. And we are also suggesting that any final policy make it so that our bathroom hours are consistent with the park hours instead of having just one element of the park close early. All right, so on to our public outreach plan with our survey. We thought about the best way to try to reach a large group of people instead of just a small group of maybe very invested people. And we thought that this survey would give us that opportunity. So we would propose some of these ideas, and then we want to hear, or really all of these ideas, and we want to hear your feedback on them or thoughts if you'd like to see anything added or removed. So we would include online and paper surveys on our website, town small talk newsletter, social media. We would have a flyer with a QR code so people can quickly access that. And we would keep that flyer at and near the parks. We'd have an A-frame with signage that's large with the QR code at the parks. We would try to schedule some in-person interviews with our park stewards, staff, and go door to door in some key neighborhoods, especially very near the parks, our neighbors who live right there. And so we are proposing a 30-day period for our survey to remain open. And our goal is only 350 responses, which is 58.3 residents for each of you to speak to. But we also would like to help. Really, we picked this number. We know that this is very high and we're unlikely to quite hit it, but we wanted to have a goal that allows us to have a 95% confidence level with a plus or minus 5% margin of error. So it's statistically relevant if we are able to hit this number, which would be pretty incredible. But a minimum of 150 responses from residents living near the parks would be required if we were going to hit that 95% confidence level. So even if we end up with a number less than this, we will still do the best that we can to extrapolate the information from it. Okay. And I'm only joking, John, about you to get anyone to do the survey. Okay. So these are the survey questions that we reviewed, and we're proposing they would be available in English and Spanish. So when should parks without lighting close? One option would be at sunset. The other would say other. So this is just for the parks that do not have lighting. Okay. And then when should parks with adequate lighting close? So when they have lights, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., or other. Which park do you live near? So we'll ask them which one they are near. And then do you live immediately adjacent to a park? Yes or no? And then have a fifth question for open comment. If you have additional thoughts or concerns about park hours, please share with us. Okay. So are there any thoughts about these survey questions?
Is Caballero Park not on?
Caballero will be on here. Yes, all the parks will. And actually, our town manager is also suggesting that we add the river parks as well. Oh yeah, it does say Lower Tapco and Tuesday, so yeah.
And Del Webb Park.
And Del Webb Park?
Yeah.
That one's not ours. It's a Cottonwood Park technically. It's just outside our town limits.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a suggestion on question number 3
Yes.
to possibly phrase it as which park do you live the closest to?
Okay.
Or have an option for none.
Oh, have an option for none.
Yeah.
So, and we could do both. Which
Okay.
park do you live closest to? And we could say none, because maybe people do feel like they don't live near any. Yeah, we liked that. I think that's great. We thought that was better than just asking them which one they visit the most, because we also do want to know, you know, if they have buy-in to their location. Okay. All right, any other thoughts about the specific survey questions? All right. So once new hours are in place, the town plans to track the usage data just generally, and whether or not it's being used during those later hours, extended hours. Safety data, so we would check to see if vandalism or other issues are being introduced if we expand the times that our parks are open. And then maintenance data like litter, restroom use, turf wear, really just like damage to the restroom areas. If hours are extended, and then we would reevaluate after a 1 year period once we determine our park hours. So once that survey is complete, results will be brought back to the commission for discussion and appropriate park hours policy, which may include any of the following. So neighborhood parks without lighting, and these are examples that were pulled off of NERPA. So neighborhood parks without lighting to remain open sunrise to sunset, also known as daylight hours only unless otherwise posted. So this is just some potential language for you guys to understand how these are written. Parks with adequate lighting to remain open sunrise to 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. based on survey input. Programmed extensions of parks with staff presence or lighting may be approved by the town manager or parks manager not to exceed 10 p.m. Overnight use, camping, and occupation remain prohibited. That's how it is currently. You know, we don't allow for-profit purposes or overnight use in the parks. Seasonal adjustments might be made following community notice or evaluation of usage, safety, and maintenance data. And then bathroom hours would align with park hours. So we feel like this approach builds in flexibility. It simplifies our town park hour policy because there's so much variation in our current hours, and it ensures that our park hours are balanced with Clarkdale's needs and our neighborhood fit. Okay. The last thing I want to bring to your attention is a separate piece of paper that I handed you all that is just a quick survey of some of our neighboring municipalities and how they are currently handling their park hours. There is more consistency in most of these approaches as far as each municipality goes, but it's interesting to see how everyone is doing things a little bit differently. So Sedona, they have Posse Grounds Park, which is open 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., but all of the other Sedona parks are open dawn to dusk. Cottonwood, theirs are open sunrise to 10 p.m., which does align with the teen curfew. And Cottonwood Del Webb Park is open 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. That one is, I think, affiliated more with a separate neighborhood. And then Jerome, we spoke with them this last week, and they said that their park is open 24 hours and they intentionally do not post the park hours, and they like their 24-hour period policy. And in Prescott, theirs are open 6 a.m. to 10, Prescott Valley 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. And again, I just want to say that Prescott specifically noted that it's aligned with their curfew hours for teens. So that is everything that I have for you all. And really the question that we are asking for you to consider tonight is if you like our public outreach plan and you'd like to propose that we issue our survey following this public outreach plan, or if you all would like to suggest changes to this plan, then we are here to hear what you would like to see.
Does anyone have any suggestions? You like what she suggested? Any changes?
I think this sounds like a great plan.
Thank you, Robin.
Okay, then, well, I guess we could have a motion if somebody would like, if Commissioner Kramer would like to make it.
I would move to approve the public outreach plan for park hours.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Kramer and seconded by Commissioner Jones to approve the public outreach plan for park hours. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes unanimously. Thank you. The next thing is future agenda items. Anybody have any suggestions? I know you guys have been really busy with the park. I was just curious, and maybe it wouldn't be able to come up next time, but how the master trails plan is it moving along? Is it anything? No?
Yeah.
And that's fine. I know you guys have been really busy. But at some point in the future, it'd be fun to hear how that's going.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Yeah. So we'll add that on there. Any other agenda items?
Okay, well, before we adjourn, I'd like to thank Commissioner Kramer. It's been fun. I'm sorry I have such perfect attendance and you never got to step up. But thank you. Okay, we will adjourn at 6:01.
Thanks, guys. All right, I'm gonna turn off our.
Yeah, I totally forgot from July.